What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Beyond the 90. We've got Ant. Ant, Happy New Year, mate. How you doing?
Oh, it's been an interesting Christmas period for myself, but yeah, I'm doing all right. It's good to be back on Beyond 90. It's been way too long for me.
Yeah, it's been a while, but again, in this video, we're going to go into, we're going to look at the preview for Watford. We're going to look at all of the injuries. We're going to look at formations. We are really lacking behind in terms of injuries and things, but we'll get all into that right now. So for starters, let's go through the injury list. My God, is it long? Well, the combination of injuries, COVID, and then African Cup of Nations now as well. So we're looking at just the defender list. We've got Fofana, Justin, Evans, Amati, Soyuncu, Pereira. And thank God it's not even anymore. I mean, Harvey Barnes again. Brian Bertrand is coming back into fitness, and I think that's it. To be honest, for this upcoming game, in the middle we're missing Ndidi, who's obviously gone to African Cup of Nations. Or again, you can kind of count him as a defender or an option for centre back because he's been playing the last couple of games. And then striker as well. We've got Vardy, Iheanacho, and Daka as well. So, what are your initial thoughts on that, Ant? Because my God, this list is horrendous.
It's not great, is it? Like, I know I'm going to sound like what is it, foil hat or whatever you say, like conspiracy theory, but there's got to be more to it than just bad luck for the way that we're racking up injuries.
Yeah, and it's a constant thing, and it's not just bad luck. I think it's just the way that we're playing at the moment. But again, there's a lot of people out. However, Brendan Rodgers always goes for it in the cup. He always makes sure to go out of his way and make sure, like the match against Stoke, when we won 4-1, he put out a pretty much full strength team. Do you remember?
Yeah, that was the one where Justin scored that absolutely ridiculous goal, wasn't it? But yeah, Brendan Rodgers,
Dennis
this is
Pratt
something that yeah,
got an
this is
injury.
something that I like the Brendan Rodgers has always done. He's always tried to go far in the cups, and that's one thing that Puel took a lot of criticism for, was sort of half-assing his way through cup competition. So it is nice to have a manager who does take them seriously, because obviously we saw it last year. We won the FA Cup, so we're coming into this game as Watford as the defending champions of the FA Cup.
Yeah, exactly. And it puts a different perspective on it, even though obviously we're coming in as the defending champions. It will see what Brendan Rodgers does. I've got my formations, Ant's got his. We're going to look at that right now. So the first we're going to start with is the defense. So, Ant, we've got a space missing, but talk me through this back line for you.
Yeah, so obviously saying about going strong, but it's at the same time of giving players game time. So Danny Ward in goal. We've got Bertrand at left back, and obviously you can see there's a gap there. It's just because Nelson isn't available on FIFA, so that will be Ben Nelson there, and then Vestergaard, our only fit centre back, playing alongside him. That the fact that we're saying that is just depressing in itself. And then then at right back, give Daly Campbell a few minutes because again, I think FA Cup we go strong enough, but I think at the same time it's crucial to give some of these fringe players some game minutes.
Yeah, again, so I totally agree. And the thing is, what's different, we'll come on to my formation a little different. Daly Campbell, every time he's come on, he's looked super impressive for me. I think so. It's a really good shout. Again, I've gone for a different option, but Daly Campbell, I think, is a great shout.
Yeah, and the thing is, he's doing very well in the under 23s, but it's a whole like completely different game playing first team football, and he needs to get as much minutes as he can. And I've quite often said I'd rather see a player go out on loan to a championship team than do really well in the under 23s. I think it is that next step for him where he can go and play week in, week out. And as fortunate as we are with the depth that we have at right back, it is going to make it very hard for him to get any minutes.
Yeah, it is. But the thing is, an opportunity like this against a Premier League opposition, in the same way, it's kind of similar to Brighton in the same way that he gets the opportunity to play. He may not play the entire game, but it's a good start and a good opportunity for a young player, just as we saw as Dewsbury Hall last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah, and it's now down to him though if he does play to take that opportunity, and there will be clubs looking at him potentially for a loan period. So it's now down to him to really put a marker down.
Okay, yeah, well, we'll see about that. Again, we'll touch on I don't think we'll mention Vestergaard too much, but the non-Ben Nelson here.
Mm.
What was your thinking behind that? Because I've gone for a different defender. I've gone for a different formation altogether. But what would you think about putting Ben Nelson in again against Vestergaard, which is obviously a very he's a bit shaky at the moment. But that centre back duo against, well, we're not sure what Watford will put out.
No, and it's one of those. Ben Nelson's been on the bench a couple of times now, and it just feels like a matter of time before he does make his debut. And I think a cup game, early draws of the cup, is a perfect opportunity to give a young player his debut, particularly a game at home where we do have, as we've mentioned, like really limited defensive options. Uh, I think it just seems a perfect opportunity for him.
Okay, no worries. And then what was your thinking behind Bertrand at left wing as well?
Bertrand left back is. I don't want to see Thomas overplayed and overworked. And again, these games, they're going to come thick and fast, so you don't want to wear out everyone. So it's a bit of rotation there.
Right, thanks for that. And right, we're going to move on to my squad now. I'll show you my backline. Tell me what you think. Okay, so now you can see my backline at the moment. Obviously, I've gone very differently. I've got the mentality that I was going to go with, and obviously the Brendan Rodgers going to go with. We're not sure, but I'm going to start off instead of Danny Ward, who I do like, and I think we've talked about this together, and we love Danny Ward, but I'm thinking that they're going to go strong for this, and they're going to play Kasper Schmeichel. Danny Ward is a more than exceptional player who will be put in and I will not be dropped. However, I think that Brendan Rodgers is going to continue the momentum from the Liverpool game. And the way you're going to do that is try and play the same team. However, I know we've got loads of injuries. So for the back line, I've got Luke Thomas. For some reason on this one, they give him a different picture. I'm not sure why. I understand Ant's point about, understand your point, Ant, about you want to play the same team. You want to play a rotated team and you don't want injuries to happen. However, I've got a feeling that Brendan Rodgers will go, right, I've not got a lot of players and this squad will need some people to change and you need the momentum, you need the positive energy into this one. So for that reason, I've gone Luke Thomas at left back, Samori at centre back. The issue that I had, obviously with yours, with Bertrand here and Vestergaard here, even though I've got Vestergaard as well, Ben Nelson's going to have his first game for Leicester City, and I was thinking about him, and I really wanted to do well. However, the problem is, if you're putting him between Vestergaard and Bertrand, who are quite shaky, I mean, dropping a young 17-year-old and he has a terrible game is going to absolutely kill his confidence. That's my thing.
It is, but my thing is, like, at that age, there wouldn't be a huge amount of expectation on him coming in the cup, and I think everyone would get behind him and stuff. Which my worry is, Samare, even in midfield, he does look vulnerable at times. So he's not like Ndidi, where he's like a rock solid defender wherever you put him in the pitch. So that would be my slight concern with it, and I don't think it does suit Samare, but it's just trying to fill those holes with the players that we've got available at the moment, which, again, I can see the thinking behind it.
Right, so quickly after a quick edit, we've now got a midfield three. Again, we've got took Chowdhury out after that. We've got Samori, Ayoze Perez, and Dewsbury Hall. Do you want to talk us through these three?
Dewsbury Hall, he's like the levels that he's come on to over the last few weeks. I think it's absolutely brilliant. And as you mentioned earlier, when these players are playing well, you want to keep that momentum going. So I think the more game time at the moment he can get, the better. Samore, I think we're yet to see the best of Samore. I think it's fair to say we've seen moments of what he's all about in terms of his ability to drive forward, his ability in terms of passing, but it's been moments. It hasn't been that consistency. So I think giving him this game time against Watford, you definitely see. Well, I say you definitely see. I think you'd hopefully start to see a bit of more consistent run for him. And then Perez, it's got him almost, I know in this formation, but he's playing in the midfield. I've got Perez as that 10, playing probably a bit further forward. And I think that's more of the fact we don't have too many other options. We've got Maddison, but I know he's nursing that injury. So you don't want to drop him in when like, as much as you want to do well in the cup, it's also a chance to give other players a bit of game time.
I mean, yeah, it works for me. I mean, this midfield, the only thing I could say is maybe defensively it's lacking a little bit, but I can imagine Samori and Dewsbury Hall would be a great double pivot.
Yeah, it's like if it is getting overrun slightly, you can always bring Chowdhury in for that little bit of defensive steel and sort of grit. But I think Samori and Dewsbury Hall, one thing it won't lack is that physicality in terms of like getting themselves around the pitch and stuff. It's just that defensive awareness, but it's in theory, it's pivot that could work.
Yeah, I mean, it could work. It could do quite well, I can think. That double pivot, and then just obviously sitting in front of that duo of the centre backs as well, and then Ayoze Perez as well. As you were saying, I think he's a great player, but I think we'll get onto my formation a little bit later. But thinking behind him is just because you want to rest Maddison for the Everton game.
Yeah, and it's like I wouldn't risk Maddison picking up another knock. So give Perez a bit of game time. And the thing is, people won't like to hear this because I know a lot of people don't like Perez. And I don't think he has been a player that we hoped to sign. But off the bench this year, he has had quite a few games where he's had a positive impact. So I do think he deserves a start. And I don't think he deserves a start in the league, but in the cup, why not give him some minutes?
Fair enough. Right. I mean, it makes sense to me. We're going to look at my formation now. So my midfield looks slightly ever so different, to be honest, from what Ant's put. I think the reason why I've gone for this formation again, with you going for a 4-2-3-1, I've gone for a 4-1-3-2 formation, is that we're lacking strikers. We need people to get that up to them, and what better three people again? Chowdhury in the midfield. I think he only played it 50 odd minutes or so, so I think he's going to come on and do some real work. And in the centre midfield, I'm always going to push for him. And I think against Watford's a great opportunity to show what he's made of, just like in Brentford was last year or the year before. I think it was last year. Then I've gone for Dewsbury Hall for the exact same reasons that they've said that they've said it before. And also, if you watch my analysis of the Liverpool game, I thought he was absolutely outstanding. And I knew he was a good player, but I didn't know how good he was. And again, as Ant was saying, keep the momentum going on there. I dropped Tielemans back in because he only had half an hour. We know from what Brendan Rodgers says and from what we've seen, he's a momentum player. The more he keeps playing, the better he'll get. And also, the reason why I put Maddison in is because a player is on form and we've got to keep up his confidence. I know Ant was saying before that we've got a issue at the moment where we're going to give him a rest because he's kind of coming back. He'll be fine for this game. But the reason why I play him is to keep his confidence up so we can go into the Newcastle game, the Everton game on form. This formation doesn't really do it justice because I'm trying to get Maddison over into this cam position to help back up the other two strikers, which we'll get into in a bit. But do you think I've gone too strong? But I think Brendan Rodgers will want to defend the title, which is why I've gone for like a really strong lineup.
Yeah, I can see why you have. I wouldn't like. I see the point with Tielemans as well, but my thinking with Tielemans very similar as Maddison is the fact we're going to have a lot of fixtures coming up because of the amount of games we've had postponed. So I think it's about choosing when to give them minutes and sort of managing their game time. But at the same time, I do get the thinking behind of him wanting to go strong enough to get through to the next round.
Yeah, sounds good. Right, should we look at your formations for your attacking and?
Yeah, let's go for it.
So, and your front three or your 4-2-3-1, your front three are Lookman, Albrighton, and Barnes. So no out and out real striker because we haven't got any at the moment. What was your thinking behind playing these three?
So Barnes again, minutes can only be a good thing. He's coming back from an injury. I think we need having Barnes back will be a huge positive. So I think trying to get as many minutes as we can before that Everton game. Albrighton again, come in, do a job at right wing. And then Lookman, I've said about it on Twitter as well, that Lookman played a lot of his games last year for Fulham as a striker. It's not an ideal situation, but the fact that he is capable of playing there and can fill in and do a job is what I'm thinking with that one.
Interesting. Again, with the Ayoze Perez playing so deep, it will have a lot of emphasis on this. So do you think Perez will play higher to support Lookman, or do you think that because again, all the feed will be coming to him for Lookman,
Yeah.
do you think potentially he could play a role where he could pass it on to somebody like Barnes and then get Barnes in as well?
Yeah, I think Perez will play almost as that second striker, and then Lookman, and then that will support Lookman, Barnes, and Albrighton. So I am quite interested to see what Brendan Rodgers does because his options are very limited. So it will be interesting to see. But I wouldn't be against seeing Lookman down the middle at all.
No, it would be an interesting thing. And obviously, Albrighton, we know what he can get. And I think when he came on against Liverpool, I think he had, again, another underrated performance for the Premier League, but I think a vital performance in order to keep the Premier League going, keep that game going.
Yeah, he didn't do anything particularly sort of outrage. I'll say that piece of skill on the right hand side
Oh,
that he did.
yeah.
That was ridiculous. But he's not like the most exciting player in the world, but he's one of those that I think is perfect to bring off the bench to see out a result, like Brendan Rodgers did against Liverpool. And I think Brendan Rodgers, he's taken a lot of criticism over the last couple of weeks and months. He got it absolutely bang on with his substitutes against Liverpool. Change the game with obviously Lookman and Tielemans coming on, and then Albrighton slightly later on coming to see out the game. So yeah, I think that's a perfect role for him, in my opinion, is coming off the bench, see out games.
Fair enough, and no problem. And the other one that I've got obviously there is Barnes as well. Just coming back from injury, is it just the momentum that he needs to kind of catapult his career, and hopefully the next half of the season he can really pick up goals?
Yeah, I do worry that it might take him some time to get going again, because we saw that before when he got injured. But he's in a similar way to Maddison. He's one of those players who goes through patches of doing very, very well. So it's just about building up that confidence to sort of have that belief that he can go into another goal scoring run, or into a run of where he's maybe not getting assists, because I'm not that concerned about an assist stat, but impacting goals and impacting play.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Right. Let's look at my formation. So again, for up front, I've gone for a slightly different formation. Both me and Ant have gone for a different formation again. So make sure to send to the end of the video. We'll do our combined formation and show you another alternative that Brendan might go for as well. But for this one, I've gone for Perez and Lookman up front. We've seen Iheanacho and Perez work fantastically in the front too before, and obviously with the Iheanacho missing, I'm thinking, right, just try and slot one in for the reasons that I didn't actually know before, that he played as a striker for Fulham. I think that's partly down to injury issues as it is now. But with Lookman, I think you're going to have somebody that's going to feed that position. And when you've got somebody like Dewsbury Hall, and you can have Dewsbury Hall and Chowdhury as a double pivot, then you've got Tielemans and Maddison feeding this. I think having him as kind of that false nine, passing it on to Lookman for the final finish, I think could work masterfully for this one. So what would you say for a front two, like this front two? And
I think it goes one of two ways. It either works really well, or after 45 minutes, we're sat there like, what have we just watched? So
that's basically our season, but more the second option than the first.
Unfortunately, quite accurate, but it could work quite well. But the thing is, I don't want to see sort of these sort of like link ups in the league games. I think we can try it a little bit more in the cup, because I expect Watford to rotate as well. They've lost a couple of players to AFCON. I believe they've actually lost their captain as well to the AFCON. So right, they will be rotating as much as us. So that's why I don't mind us like trying these kind of things in this game.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Right. Now, we've talked about this formation, but obviously, just as a side, we've been talking about we'll combine the two and change a formation to a back three. Should we have a look at that now? Right, after some deliberation and some technical bloody problems, we've managed to get the formation back up. So we've decided to go to a back three. We've put Benkovic in. We completely forgot he exists. What do you think the thinking is behind this? You go and then I'll go.
Well, it's like you say, we just completely forgot that he existed, and he can play in the cup. He's obviously, don't think he's part of the Premier League squad, but he can play in the cup. And if he's not going to play at this point, when we've got no central defenders, why is he still at the club? Like, it's really that simple. So, Bertrand in the back three, not a fan of it, but it's again about filling the holes and filling the gaps, which is why he's there. Then Albrighton right wing back. I think there's times at right wing back he's looked very vulnerable, but also times where he's looked very good. Castagnier, brilliant, absolutely brilliant player, able to play either side, so I don't have a problem with that. Samori and Dewsbury Hall, interesting pivot. And then obviously Barnes on the left, Lookman down the middle, and Perez on the right. Yeah, so it's a bit of a mix and match team, but I don't think it's the worst team in the world.
Yeah, and considering that Watford, in my opinion, we're trying to stave off relegation, I think one thing I was going to talk about is that Watford will be keeping an eye on trying to stay up in the Premier League, and Ranieri knows that that's where his job lies. keeping them in the Premier League. So I don't think he'll go that hard in this game in terms of the FA Cup.
No, they've got bigger fish to fry, as you say. So for them, like even if they go far in the FA Cup, if they get relegated and say got to a semi-final of the FA Cup, that's a bad season for them. So
Yeah.
Ranieri's focus will be on staying in the Premier League, and that's if Ranieri's still the manager by the time that we play them. Because as much as I love him, he's coming under pressure there.
And also, they're under a management that will pull the trigger at any time. Look at Kiko Flores had a couple of games in, and he was gone as well. I think 8 games, and he was gone. So we know that we don't want it to happen to Ranieri, but at the same time, that's what you get with Watford. Apart from that, and we're pretty much going for the Leicester win in this one. Would you think?
Yeah, I'd hope so, wouldn't you? I feel relatively confident because of like who we're facing in terms of Watford. We beat them at the King Power quite comfortably a few weeks ago. They'll be weaker, we'll be weaker, but you've got to hope that we can put some sort of fight up for defending the FA Cup.
Yeah, exactly. Especially since it's our trophy at the moment. Again, it's mad to think this time last year this would be our trophy. However, we've still got to put a defense up in terms of this, and we're against a weird squad. Again, a squad that's going to be competing with relegation, so that's going to be their focus. If we can go and build on the momentum from the Liverpool game, and then we've got Everton on Tuesday, it's just going to keep rolling. But I think I'm feeling confident about this one. But how many times have we said that this season?
I am, but it's also a long way away as well. So I hate to think the fact of how many injuries we can get in what, like 6-7 days. You should feel really confident for this, but it's like I was saying, if the Norwich game hadn't got cancelled, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if we beat Liverpool and then lost to Norwich. So you just never know with Leicester.
You never know, but I think that will be a good place to end. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe. Make sure to check out Ant's video in the description down below. We've done another preview on his channel, so make sure you go check that out. Apart from that, thank you everybody for watching. Get to the end of the video. We'll see you all in the next video. So goodbye.